those subs to get up. Go ahead and hit that like button now. And whatever I say, if you don't like it, unlike it at the end. But don't let it get to the end and you be ready to go to the next video and you didn't like this one. So like it now, because I'm already telling you, you're going to like what I'm going to say. If you don't like what I'm going to say, at the end, then you can hit the thumbs down button. But hit the thumbs up button now. Right after you hit the subscribe button. And feel free to share this, because a lot more people than you need to hear this. Oh yes, a lot more people than you. You know, everybody can't be a leader. I mean, everybody's not leaders. Let's just put it that way. Everybody's not leaders. Just because you're in front don't mean you're the leader. Just because you're given the title doesn't mean you're a leader. You know, I mean, people are generally not given the title of leader. They're just given the title to where they're the top of the food train. Did I say train? That was a Freudian slip. Should have been chain. But it really is a train. Because you put the wrong people in leadership, it becomes a train wreck. So yeah, you put the wrong person at the top of the food chain and you got him doling out the kibbles and bits. He's not gonna dole them out evenly. He's not gonna make sure that everybody has proper nutrition. When I say, hey, I'm not just speaking from a masculine standpoint. Even though everything starts with the man. I know a lot of people don't like to hear that, but everything starts with the man. I'm tired of hearing all this craziness about what women are doing, women are controlling. These are narratives that they want everybody to believe to minimize men. But everything starts with the man. Men are not always in leadership, but we are expected to be leaders. So hopefully you understand that. And if not, you should by the end of what I'm about to say. People get in position. They get in positions of power. And I think sometimes they take those positions of power and they use them wrongfully. And you gotta excuse, I'm a little nasally, no Rona. So some of my words, I feel that they're not even coming out as thorough. So if I repeat myself where it might have sounded like I said something, if I didn't feel like it came out clear, I may repeat myself. And if it didn't come out clear, I'm definitely gonna repeat myself. I'm that vain. It's not that I'm above saying the wrong thing, but sometimes you can put the wrong something on the end of a word and give it a whole different context. So I want to be clear in what I'm speaking today, even though I'm a little nasally. But you've got people out here in positions of power, and everybody ain't eating. And everybody needs to eat. See, if you're in positions of power and you're leading a faction of people, everybody's got to get the same nutrition. You got malnourished folks over here, and you got people over here just rubbing their belly because they so full. That's not a good team. And you're not going to have good results in the end. You're going to end up with a lot of dissension, end up with a lot of infighting, backbiting. And the leader themselves, really not a leader, they're just the person that's at the top of the food train. They'll be gone in no time. And then it becomes a rebuild. You got to start all over. But you wouldn't have had to start all over if you had picked the right leader in the first place. Because you can pick the wrong leader. And then you got to go through it sometimes. Sometimes for 4 years. Y'all already know. Yeah, you picked the wrong leader, and that motherfucker's in power for 4 years, they can fuck some shit up. They can put you in a position where you could be wearing masks every goddamn day. Crazy shit. Having to get vaccinated and stuff. That's putting the wrong person in power. Or on a different scale, you could have people just disillusioned. These goddamn scam likely calls. If they know it's a scam, why the phone company let it through? If you know it's a likely scam, why you let it through? Don't let nothing through on my phone if you already know it's going to be harmful to me. Scam likely. If I eat a whole motherfucking pizza, I'm going to be fat. I'm not going to be fat likely. You know it's bad for me, but you still let it cross my phone line. And then when I answer, then a whole lot of other shit can happen. They can record my voice. They can put that data on something else and have, man, scam likely. Come on now. Block that shit. I'm not paying Sprint, T-Mobile, Nextel, whoever the fuck it is now. I'm not paying them so you can send me calls that I don't need to receive. Scam likely. But yeah, you got bad leadership. You're going to have a bad team. And you could have some good individuals on the team. You actually could have a decent team and not even know it when you got bad leadership. Leadership is not for everybody. A bad coach can ruin a great set of individuals who compile a team. No matter what sport it is, you can have a horrible coach and have great talent. They are not going to override that coach. There's never been in the history a bad coach that won a Super Bowl. A bad coach that won the NBA Finals. A bad coach that won the World Series. They call them managers in baseball. Professional soccer. You ain't never seen a bad coach and have a great soccer team. You gotta have a good coach at least. A good leader. If you're to have a great team. Because if they're bad at what they do, that's how your team's gonna function. Yeah, you're gonna have some ebbs and flows, some highs and lows, but you ain't gonna get that hardware. There won't be no championship rings. You might have a scoring title. You know, you might have an MVP. You might have a whole bunch of individual awards because you got a whole bunch of great individuals, but you're not gonna win the championship. Now I'm 8 minutes into this. And y'all probably like, what the fuck is he talking about? But the people who know me know I'm gonna come back. I got that boomerang game. I'm gonna bring it back. You know, the goal is always to topple white supremacy. The goal is always to have equity. Not equality, equity. I don't want to be equally broke as a motherfucker out here like the next person. I need equity. See, if you're looking for equality, you just gonna accept whatever slice of pie they throw at you. But if you're looking at equity, you want a substantial part of that pie. You not only want a part of that pie, you want to be able to make your own pie. That gets you equity. If you just want to sit around and just accept a slice of pie when they give it to you, you got equality. But if you get your own pie and you can hand out your own slices, you now got equity. Equality means nothing if everybody's got nothing. What do we all need to be broke for? I need equity. And when we talk about equity, we talk about recompense. And when we talk about recompense, we talk about redress. And when we talk about redress, we talk about reparations. And in this methodical walk towards reparations, we got to have good leadership. It's a grassroots organization. obviously. This ain't just sitting on Capitol Hill right now. This ain't at the top of everybody's mind right now. I know they're talking about HR 40, and that's got to get revised. Because that looks like that's going to be the initial plug to talk about reparations. We're not just going to be able to get rid of HR 40. Nor should we. If that's what's going to start our discussion, let's start our discussion with HR 40. And then we fill it all in. Because HR 40 just has a lot of blanks. HR 40 is kind of a Swiss cheese of bill. So we need to fill in that Swiss cheese so we get the whole slab of cheese. Because we need that whole slab of cheese. That whole slab of government cheese. Oh yes. We don't need bits and pieces. We don't need programs and packs. We don't need things to aid us. We need things to make us whole. Just like everybody else has been made whole on this soil. And the only way we're going to get there is with good leadership. Some people are proving themselves to be not good leaders. And then other people are stepping up into the game who've been leaders, and they're not trying to take over with hostility. They're taking over with documentation, taking over with the facts, taking over with the data. And they're taking over with all that we need without all the drama. I mean, who needs a whole bunch of drama when everybody's supposed to be fighting for the same thing? Why would we be fighting against each other if we're fighting for the same thing? I get we're not going to always agree with one another. But not agreeing with one another and backbiting are two different things. Not agreeing with one another and doing sucker shit is the difference between what we have and what we need. There's a lot of sucker shit out here. Oh yeah, there's a lot of sucker shit out here. And when you got sucker shit, it makes it difficult to move. That's why everybody can't be a leader. They assume the leadership role, they assume the leadership position, but then they don't want to lead. But then they want to keep anybody else from trying to lead. And in many cases, there's more than one leader. We don't need a messiah situation. And we also don't need to be led by a committee, but we do need a faction of people who are strong enough to uphold our principles. That can't just be one. That can't just be two. To have unity, to be galvanized, to be on code, you got to have everybody walk in the same direction. Everybody's not going to walk at the same speed initially. But the one thing about a pace, one thing about momentum, once everybody does get in sync, those people who are a little bit slower, they're going to speed up. And those people who are used to walking a little bit faster, they're going to slow down to make sure they stay with the team. That's good leadership. And we learn how to move in unison. That's good leadership. Because everybody ain't meant to be a leader. And once we really figure that out, just because you out front don't mean you leading. You might have just been first to get there. Just because you first in the space don't mean you the best one. I remember a kid all the time used to get to the court all the time. He was the worst player. He got there early thinking he was going to be picked first and he'd be picked last. Hell, that was me. Sometimes I showed with my ball, didn't even get picked on the team. Didn't get picked on the team. Did I leave? No, I let him play. I had the only ball. If I left, the game was over. Because I was a team player. And then when I did get on the court, I showed them motherfuckers not to not draft me again because I put that dirty left on them. They couldn't handle that left. We got to prove ourselves out here to be worthy of what we're seeking. And the only way that we're going to prove ourselves to be worthy of what we're seeking, which is reparations, which is restorative justice for American descendants of freedmen, American descendants of slavery. The only way we're going to prove ourselves worthy is if we have good leadership. And everybody is in line with that leadership. You can't be a whole bunch of wild renegades out here. That only works for one faction of people on this soil. There's only one faction of people that you can be wild and animalistic and brutalize people and murder people and still be able to succeed out here. But this ain't about them. This is about us. Because I'm tired of saying, what about us? How about us? Nah, I know why we not getting to where we supposed to get. Because we don't always have good leadership. We can have some of the most magnanimous people out here trying to do stuff for us. We still go right against them. When Martin Luther King was talking about reparations, half the black faction left him. If you look in Wikipedia right now, they say Martin Luther King's most important speech is "I Have a Dream." To black people, his most important speech is "The Other America." If you look up Malcolm X, they'll talk about "by any means necessary." But for black people, it needs to be the ballot or the bullet. See, when people go against the true goal of what we're doing, you get lost. And we've gotten lost. We've lost our way. In so many ways, we've lost our way. And we don't lose our way because we don't want to go right. We lose our way because we have bad leadership. Some of these brothers out here are just for the people, because they're by the people and they're with the people. And that's who we need to roll with. We need to roll with the people who are going to be here for us, with us, by us. We can't be with people that's going to look down on us. It's going to minimize us. That'll get us nowhere. That's what we've been for the last 401 years. You step on somebody's neck for 246 years, no oxygen, none. And then when you step up off and they get a gas because they didn't die, they survived. Put your foot back down for another 155 years. You're trying to exterminate people, man. You're trying to extinguish people. Genocide. But we've survived. And if we've survived all of that detriment, we can go a little bit further together, unified, codified, galvanized, to fight what's rightfully ours. Everybody else did. And we need to get past the, yeah, they didn't have to study to pay Native Americans. And they didn't have to study to pay Holocaust survivors. And they didn't have to study to pay concentration camps. Concentration camps. They didn't have to study for that. There's no studying. They cut checks. They made policy. They made people whole. Because the people that were fighting for them had good leadership. They had good leadership. So we need to have good leadership. And if we have good leadership, then we will be all right. If we have bad leadership, we'll have a whole bunch of awards, whole bunch of trophies. We won't have no championship. What y'all want to do? Subscribe to the channel. If you didn't like what you heard, keep it moving or put that thumbs down. But if you're going to put a thumbs down, make sure you leave a comment as to why you didn't like this video. We're going to continue to talk about good leadership. And I'm going to start calling out people that I believe are good leaders. That's what we need. We need good leaders. And until we get good leaders, we don't need to just jump behind any old body. They're not leading us nowhere. We just follow. One love.